Hi guys, it's Stu here from Samsung Now. Samsung Now is where we look at all things Samsung, all things tech, and everything in between. If any or all of that interests you, then don't forget to subscribe. As a lot of you well know that have the KS series of TVs and pretty much any sort of Samsung TV from sort of, I think, 2015, 2016 onwards, there's been an update 1201.6, which I did a analysis of last week and a pre and post video on, which has mostly been seen as positive. There's been some thumbs down, but we'll ignore those. My initial thoughts on the well, I wanted to give it a good week for me to sort of look at some standard content, you know, standard definition content, some high def, which is predominantly still what we watch from day to day on a 4K TV, and then of course 4K content streaming, which would consist of YouTube, Amazon, and Netflix, of course. And then I wanted to spend some time just using it and seeing if there were any issues that I had come across. And predominantly, I'm happy to say, it's possibly one of the best updates we've had. It appears to me that they've addressed a lot of the issues that some of us have had. Now, obviously, this is dependent on the model of TV of which you own, but from my experience from using the KS8000, which I have here, which is the UK version, which I believe is the KS9000 in the US, light bleeding has been improved. Light management overall has been improved. There doesn't seem to be as much sort of pumping. That's been reduced massively. So before, when I used to have the smart LED and all that sort of stuff on, if we get some of this up, so I know what I'm talking about a little bit more. When I used to, as you can see, I've actually changed some of my settings. I've actually now got smart LED off, but I actually had to have that on previously to manage how it was coping with the backlight overall and the LED lighting. I've also got dynamic contrast turned off now, and I'll go through all these settings in another video. But overall, it's not only been one of the better updates that we've had in a very long time, but it's also quite fundamentally changed the settings that I have now on this TV. And that's because they've now, the issues I was trying to correct a lot of, using a lot of the expert settings that are available to us, I've now adjusted downwards, or I've actually turned off completely, because how the TV is managing it sort of on its own with its own software and update, rather than having to deal with trying to correct things using the expert settings, it's doing a much better job, and leaving it sort of closer to where we're not sort of using too much of sort of internal processing or any of the sort of the smart super sexy functions you get. It allows us to get a better image because we're not processing, adding additional processing on top. So I'm seeing the Judder has improved massively. It's still there a little bit, but it has improved an awful lot. I did notice that on the post video, which I did last week, but having watched a lot of sport, there's the International Athletics World Championships in London, which are being aired on the BBC. and I've been watching a lot of that, and predominantly that's been really good. However, I had noticed there is an issue which I will show in a video which you should probably see coming up round about now. Hopefully I've still got that footage. I did it the other day, so if I've still got that footage, you'll see it now. If not, you'll just still see me speaking. But what it is there's been, when a athlete is sort of moving across from a long shot on a camera on the and it's sort of panning across, we're getting this sort of aberration in front of the athlete. It's kind of a strange sort of pixelated thing that's happening, and I've looked on other people's TVs and that's not happening, but it's happening on this TV, and I'm not sure whether it's just me, but it's not happening all the time, but it's very noticeable when it does happen. As you can see, there's a, hopefully I've still got the footage and you can see it, but all it is, to describe it, is just when the person is moving quickly across the sort of, and the camera's panning across trying to catch them, and there's sort of this depth of field added to it, there's this odd pixelation that sort of goes ahead of them. It's like a ghost of them in a pixelated form, which is very bizarre. But that's the only major thing that I've come across. Nothing really has stood out like it did before. If you remember in the previous update we did, I had some real issues with some HD, and that has improved massively. HD content is back to being really good again. So the backlighting and the light management of the panel, of the lighting of the panel, has been improved. There's no pumping. There's no sort of when there's changes from light to dark, that's done much snappier and much quicker than it was before. But previously, you used to sort of see the panel take a while to adjust itself to between light and dark scenes, and that's been improved massively. Color has been improved. I think what it is they've kind of pumped up the color a little bit, so much so that I've had to dial mine down a little bit more. And again, you know, I'll go over what those settings are in a video after this one. But overall, I think this is possibly one of the best updates that they've done for this TV. It's apparent that they've realized that they dropped the ball maybe in previous updates. And they're trying to address that, which is good. It's still not, you know, nothing is completely ever and probably never will be totally fixed. But as an update, and as it addresses a lot of problems that a lot of us have had, it's a good start. It's a great start. So, you know, we're really happy about that. I've noticed that some of us are getting the HDR flag and some are not. And I'm not too sure why that is. I, for one, have seen it, but it doesn't come up all the time. So I'm not too sure why that is. But anyway, overall, it's a great update. I'm really quite happy with it. You know, it addresses a lot of the problems that we've been having. So next we're going to do the calibration settings, and so look out for those. Don't forget to subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on what you think of this update, and look out for the calibration video coming up next. Okay, thanks guys, take care.